What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. Super excited about this video. If you're new to us and we're new to you, make sure you scroll down, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the post notification bell because we're on the road to 200K. And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
We're going to look at what 3 other countries, Denmark, Germany, and Cuba, are getting right about education and what the US can learn from them. While Americans are struggling with tremendous amounts of student loan debt, some 4,000 miles away in Denmark, the story is completely different. That's because here, students get a full ride. You see, education in this Scandinavian country is paid through taxes. This means there's no tuition fee or cost to attend university, making quality university education free and available.
I'm grateful that I'm born in Denmark.
This is Mike Gudbergsen. He's the president of the National Union of Students here in Denmark, representing 170,000 Danish university students. Gudbergsen says students in Denmark are lucky because they can choose a course of study that suits them without the pressure of accruing student loan debt. But Denmark didn't stop at just making higher education free.
The issue is the government grant, which all students are available to receive. So besides the fact that applying and being admitted at a university or another educational institution in Denmark is free, you don't have to pay any costs or admissions fees. On top of that, you also get a grant from the government which is supposed to help you pay your rent and help you pay for food and your basic needs on a monthly basis.
Just so you're following along, what this means is that Danish students from age 18 and up have free access to quality education at universities and get between $900 and $1,000 from the government to cover expenses through the SU grant scheme. Some Danish students do take out student loans or work, depending on their socioeconomic background.
You can also apply for further funding from the government, but that is a loan that you have to repay after you finish your studies.
So why does Denmark offer free education to its students? It all comes down to this, which has long been ingrained in Danish society.
We want to have an education system which is free and available for all, regardless of your parents' educational level or other social status factors. It's good for the individual, but it's also a benefit for society as a whole.
So what can Americans do?
Primary advice would be to organize as students, because that's the only way that we actually have any relevant political influence.
The US could also learn from another country that actually shares a border with Denmark.
Okay, before we move on to Germany, I want to speak on that because I experienced both examples of a United States student. So when I first got into college, I went off of my dad's income, and he had a higher income, and I remember being so mad. I'm like, why can't I get a grant, sir? I had to get student loans. So that was tough for me because that first full year of college, I didn't get any assistance at all.
Because they really expect for the parents to pay your whole college, your whole college experience.
And I'm like, well, where your money, sir?
Just saying. I'm saying.
He
Right?
was like, that's high. You better get them loans.
Right.
So that's my first time ever getting loans, and I remember my best friend. She had all these military benefits, grants, everything, and we was balling it up on her stuff. But I didn't become an independent student or able to get grants until I had my first son, and that's when I say I kind of felt both of it, because I was kind of privileged. I got grants, and then I was on campus. I was a part of my majors at that time, so I got scholarships. I got everything there was for me to be able to live a successful college career.
Right.
And then you was there too. So you got grants, and we was good. We was able to pay our bills and able to support ourselves in college. Now the people who are not able, like how I was the first scenario, is tougher on them because they're accumulating debt.
Exactly. And that's what this whole topic is about. See, they got to get their whole rent paid month to month.
Right.
I think so. For them, I think
Monthly.
they say like 9,000, which is probably like.
Oh, it was 1,000 a month. It was 1,000 a month.
Total 9,000.
Yeah.
I think for 9 months.
Yeah.
Up to September, the beginning of the school year. I think up to September, however far that goes for them in their time frame. But that's pretty good, man. Depending on how they balance their money, though. Because you don't want to mess that check up.
Right.
And y'all got like a great opportunity for that. But I feel like we do have the same opportunity, just in a different format.
You have to qualify for it. Not
qualification
everybody have it.
is a big key for stuff.
Yeah, Germany is different from the United States in two ways. First of all, university is free for people, for everyone who's qualified to do so, who gets, sufficiently good high school degree, can go to university. It's paid by the government, and even the living costs are subsidized.
Secondly, Germany offers students other options besides just going to college.
In the United States, you get a college degree or you get very little else. And in Germany, you can choose between, a college degree or an advanced career and technical qualification, which is actually very good. Many young people prefer that route because they learn not in a university, but with a kind of advanced employer, and can make a great career out of this as well. So there's a lot more options and choices that you have in Germany to get an advanced set of skills.
Germany can keep university costs low because
they focus very much on the education side. They don't have fancy sports facilities and auxiliary kind of services. It's really focused on learning, and therefore it is less costly to provide for governments.
But like Denmark, Germany's free college program eventually does come with a cost down the line.
It's not free, basically. Later on in life, people have to pay more taxes for this. That's basically the way this is. The costs are shared between individuals and societies.
Ultimately, education in Germany is paid from taxes because there's a collective societal agreement that it's worth it.
Okay.
Not bad.
Before we move on to the next topic, but I feel like it's worth it because the people will get these careers that they're able to pay the taxes with.
Right, it's optional now.
Yes, but I have to have a little counterclaim to the sports. First of all, that's a big part of our life. College life.
Yeah,
with the sports. And the sports bring in a lot of money to the college campus. And for the programs and the students and things like that. Especially now with the NILs.
Yeah.
We have millionaire athletes now.
Yep. Still on campus.
Yeah, so another thing I wanted to say, I can't speak for the federal level because it's differently for each state, but I know our home state and the current area that we're in now, they do have an emphasis on trade schools as well too. Like that was one of the things that, if y'all go back to one of our videos of why we moved to Texas on the main channel, that was one of the things we talked about was the construction schools. So it just depends on where you are in the United States if the focus would be on that, because I know there was a program, I can't really quote that, TOPS. I don't know if they still do TOPS.
I remember TOPS.
Yeah. And that was for like the community colleges that have trade schools as well. If you wanted to just be a welder, even trucking.
Yep.
They offer free classes for you to get into that field of work if you want to do that. So there are opportunities, and also the jobs, babe.
Yeah, you can learn all that on your job.
Yeah.
Depending on your job site. So you really got to do your research on what job you want to be on, where you want to, get you a check, and then grow in a corporation, or try to go through schooling through your job, because sometimes they'll pay for your schooling, like CDL. Like you was mentioning, you can do your trucking, you can get your certificate, and you can learn how to actually back in an 18-wheeler. And they'll put you on the right path. You can drive for the company, or you can drive for a different company with that certificate. And they'll pay you for finishing your school. So that's another benefit, but you got to know which jobs offer that.
But I was talking about the jobs that pay for college. And y'all call it university. So we call it college and university. They pay for a college degree of your choice. It just depends on the job. So it's like an extra research that we have to do.
Yeah, so we have a benefit here. It's just we got to... You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
you gotta know your stuff.
Yeah, just not at a federal level.
Industrialized economies really depend on talent. That's the primary resource. There's nothing that you can do to shortcut this. And so I think countries make whatever effort they can, whatever investment they can to develop the talent fully.
But the emphasis on subsidized education isn't just limited to European countries. Just over 100 miles from Florida in the US, Cuba is a country punching above its weight when it comes to education. Fidel Castro led an armed rebellion that overthrew the US-backed dictator Batista in 1959 and soon set Cuba on a socialist course that prioritized education. For example, a huge literacy campaign in 1961 cut illiteracy levels in Cuba by 50% in just 1 year. The country still offers free education for its citizens, and yes, that includes tuition-free college to all eligible students. Cuba invests heavily in its education sector, spending about 13% of its GDP on education. By comparison, in 2014, the US spent 5% of its GDP on education.
When you look at mobility statistics, there are a lot of highly skilled Cubans working in other countries. So actually, it seems the education system does produce actually a high level of skills without tuition.
But the downside of Cuba's state-funded model was that when the state suddenly lost much of its income from the collapse of its Soviet benefactor in 1991, it could no longer sustain that massive investment it had made in education. More budget cuts during the global recession from 2008 to 2011 meant student enrollment dropped by 50% to 156,000 during that period. Keep in mind, Cuba has been dealing with a strict US-imposed embargo since the 1960s. Some say that despite Cuba's comparatively high investment in education, teacher salaries are regulated by the regime, keeping costs low.
It's much less expensive. Everything is less expensive for them because they dictate what the salaries are going to be, and people don't have many alternatives.
But despite shortcomings in the Cuban education system, there is still something Americans can learn from a country that seems to value universal access to education.
Communists are terrible at running the economy, but they're really good at delivering social services because they believe that labor is the source of value, not capital.
Denmark, Cuba, and Germany are making strategic investments in education to benefit their countries in the future. While there's no one-size-fits-all solution to addressing college costs and student debt, experts say the US could be investing more in education.
Countries always have to make choices. You have to share the costs and benefits of university education in some ways between the students, between taxpayers, and between the beneficiaries in the economy. Some countries, if you look to Denmark and Germany, have made that choice that this is a public investment. It is a public good. They pay for higher education from the public purse.
Meanwhile, leading economic indicators like homeownership are falling behind as a result of the student loan crisis.
America's losing out on talent because many people, because of student loan debt, are deciding to take certain jobs over others, and in some cases are deciding not to go to college at all because of the rising costs of higher education.
Americans may not realize that there's a potential tax benefit to be had by boosting the number of US college grads.
You know, taxpayers earn a lot more from every college graduate than what they spend in subsidies, because those people end up, paying more taxes later on. They contribute more to the economy. They consume less social welfare. You add this all up, so there's a very significant benefit.
Progressive politicians have been pushing Biden to cancel student debt.
Even if you don't have student loan debt, you will be helped by seeing student loan debt canceled because it will help our economy.
And for good reason. Canceling student debt may help in tackling another problem in the US, the racial wealth gap.
Wealth gap is about 170,000 to 17,000, 10 times the amount of wealth that Black families have. And so if we're really interested in closing the wealth gap, we should be interested in canceling debt.
But it's not enough to cancel debt. The US could benefit from what Cuba, Denmark, and Germany have been doing for years.
In order for the economy to really keep pace with the times, we need to subsidize education. Yeah, so I think on top of these debt cancellation plans, we also need a path towards free college.
A path towards free college. Do you think students would be more scared to go to college if they knew that death was going to be in that process?
Yes.
So they don't talk about it.
That's why.
I want to mention that a lot of these doors and these opportunities aren't a one shoe fit all. because for us, we went to Upper Bound, and I felt like they did give us that college atmosphere, that college feel, that education on top of that.
To college,
you know what I'm saying? We had that real first-hand experience when it came to college as high schoolers. But I feel like because it's not a one shoe fit all, they should at least teach about what the college life is like in some form, shape, in high school.
Yeah,
because I feel like there's a real big absence. It's like you're being tossed to the wolves once you graduate. And a lot of these kids don't be knowing what the heck they finna get into, especially if they don't have the background of it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Literacy.
Yeah.
How to balance everything, you know, how to not get, because we have all of this entertainment on the college campus, how not to get sucked into that and abandon the studies. Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that. We do need to do better, but you know what? I feel like all of that is in place. Depending on the college that you're at, it's in place. But I want to say, like, if it wasn't for student loan debt, I would have went back and got my law degree.
A lot of people would have went back.
Yeah, I would have went back and got my law degree, but because of all the things I went through just to get 2 degrees, I'm not accumulating no more debt.
And that story just goes deeper and deeper because it's bigger than just loans. It's bigger than that, you know what I'm saying? Because I know your story when it comes to graduating.
Yeah,
the struggle that it took. So
you know, I wasn't gonna go back to them. I was gonna go to HBCU at this point.
Hey, facts. I feel you. I feel you.
HBCU, because I was gonna go into the whole story, but I'm not.
No, not today. We can't do it.
We ain't gonna do it.
We got the time.
But I do agree with some aspects of this video. Keep our entertainment alone, though. We gotta keep the entertainment. You know. Yeah. But I do agree with a lot of parts of this, and I feel like the majority of Americans are on board. Like, we're tired of student loan debt.
Yeah, we are.
Okay? Y'all could easily write some things into office to get some funding for other things. Cancel student loan debt. This is a PSA.
Oh.
We tired.
Tired.
Oh, okay. Let me use my
No. You good. I fix
proper English. We are tired of student loan debt.
No, you gotta say it where they can understand it.
They ain't understand that.
The tired part, they probably
we tired.
Trying to tie your shoe or something.
We tired.